Mike. These security videos from a camera on a house near the murder scene. Videos that show a white sedan, a car that investigators believe was driven by Bryan Kohberger, making repeated passes at the King Road house that night before the murders.
The darkness behind headlines never sleeps, and this week the shadows have stirred again. In a startling twist, the case of Bryan Kohberger, the man accused in the gruesome Idaho student murders, has taken a chilling turn. On May 5th, a highly secretive court hearing was held. No official word on what took place. But legal analysts suggest it centered on a court-ordered mental evaluation. If true, this means the prosecution suspects Kohberger's defense may use his mental state to dodge responsibility. Under Idaho law, that opens the door for the state's own experts to evaluate him, waiving all privileges. Everything he says could be used against him. Why now? The trial is just 3 months away, and with no plea deal in sight, this evaluation could shape the battlefield. Kohberger, reportedly firm in his belief that he'll be vindicated, may be refusing any deal, even as disturbing evidence piles up. New footage and details uncovered by Dateline include security video of his car circling the victim's home, Google searches for serial killer Ted Bundy, and an eerie browsing history filled with images of women from the University of Idaho, some who were friends with the victims. His phone pinged cell towers near the house 23 times before the murders. The defense? They're expected to push back hard, pointing to lack of footage placing Kohberger inside the home, questioning the accuracy of cell tower data, and reminding the court that studying serial killers doesn't make you one. Still, no motive has been offered, and that silence is deafening. Elsewhere this week, Buster Murdoch quietly married his fiancée on a South Carolina island. No parents or brother in sight. A New York town official shot an Uber driver in the back. In Arizona, AI brought a murdered man's final words of forgiveness to court. And in a polarizing twist, the man accused of killing a healthcare CEO now has over $1 million in legal defense donations and an army of supporters calling him a folk hero. It's been a week of haunting developments and unanswered questions. Let's deep dive into the discussion.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We know you want to stay informed, but filtering through everything out there, it's a lot.
Yeah, it really is. So we try to cut through that. We look at the headlines, the court docs, the weird stories, and pull out what's actually interesting or important.
Exactly. And today, we've got quite a mix. We'll touch on the Bryan Kohberger case again. There's some wedding news, a really disturbing incident involving an official.
And even some AI in the courtroom, plus a raccoon causing trouble. Quite the reign.
It really is. Our mission, as always, is just to distill the key stuff for you.
Okay, so let's dive in. Bryan Kohberger, there was that secret hearing.
Right, and the weird part, no leaks. Usually something gets out, especially in a case this high profile.
That silence is interesting, isn't it? Makes you think it was pretty sensitive stuff. The best guess, really, is that it involved the state wanting their own mental health evaluation of Kohberger.
Okay. That connects to Idaho Code 18207.
Right.
Right, because Idaho's a bit different. They don't have the standard insanity defense.
Exactly. No, not guilty by reason of insanity or NGRI, but mental state can still be super relevant, especially when it comes to intent or potentially during the penalty phase if he's convicted.
So if the defense plans to argue anything about his mental condition at sentencing,
then the prosecution gets to have their own expert examine him. It's basically procedural fairness. They need to be able to counter any claims the defense might make about his mental state.
makes sense. And there are consequences if he undergoes that, right? He waives some privilege.
Big time. Anything he says in that evaluation can potentially be used against him. It's a significant waiver.
And if the defense doesn't cooperate?
Then the judge could potentially bar them from presenting their own mental health evidence later on. So there's a real incentive to comply.
Seems like the judge is really trying to stay on top of things, get these potential issues sorted out now. That trial date, late summer 2025, it's creeping up.
It is. And these evaluations, they take time. Getting experts, doing the assessment, writing reports. Doing it now avoids delays later.
Okay, staying with Kohberger for a moment. Dateline did a piece recently. They showed some evidence bits, right?
Yeah, they put together some of the key pieces the prosecution is likely focusing on. There was that security video.
The white sedan.
Believed to be his, yeah. Making multiple passes near the house before the murders happened.
And the cell phone pings.
Right, connecting to a tower near the victim's house, like multiple times in the month leading up to it, suggests he was in the area repeatedly.
Then there were the other things. The Google searches about Ted Bundy.
Uh-huh. And photos found on his phone, some apparently of women, including friends of the victims.
Plus the DNA evidence prosecutors say they have from the scene. It paints a certain picture.
It does. Of course, you have to remember, the defense will have counter-arguments. They'll question if you can really see Kohberger in the car, how accurate cell towers are.
And the Bundy searches, he was a criminology student researching serial killers, right? That could be an explanation.
It could. And motive. Well, the prosecution doesn't actually have to prove motive legally, even though juries often want one.
Still, just the crime itself. The quadruple homicide, it's just horrific.
Absolutely horrific. The impact is immense.
Okay, let's shift gears. Maybe something a little lighter, at least on the surface. Buster Murdoch got married.
Yes, Alex Murdoch's son. He married his fiancée, Brooklyn White, just recently, May 7th.
Private ceremony. Sounded pretty fancy. Luxurious was the word used.
Yeah, down in South Carolina. It was at this old hunting estate, Coosaw Point on Ladies Island. Sounds very secluded.
Pretty exclusive spot. And not a huge wedding, maybe 50 people?
That's the report. And pricey, like $26,000 just to rent the place, and food starting at $100 a head. So yeah, definitely upscale.
And the bride, Brooklyn White, she's already using the Murdoch name on social media.
Seems so. They also had registries asking for help funding a house project. Very practical.
Tell me about her background again. She sounds accomplished.
She is. South Carolina native, political science from Alabama, then a law degree from University of South Carolina. Works at a law firm now.
Which is, kind of a stark contrast to Buster's own reported law school experience.
Yeah.
Getting expelled for plagiarism.
Right. That's part of the complex family history. And of course, his father, mother, and brother, they weren't there.
Understandably, given everything, it definitely adds a somber note to a wedding.
For sure. The family's tragedies cast a long shadow.
Okay, moving from that complexity to something just deeply disturbing. The alleged shooting of an Uber driver in New York.
This story is really upsetting. Happened in Chester, New York. A town official, the highway superintendent John J. Riley.
He allegedly shot an Uber driver. What were the circumstances?
Apparently, the driver was just trying to make a late-night delivery on May 2nd, got lost in a wooded area, went up to a few houses asking for directions.
And ended up at Riley's house.
Yes, and there's apparently doorbell footage from a neighbor showing the driver asking for help just moments before.
Oh, wow. So what happened then?
The report is that Riley told him to leave, and then as the driver was walking back to his car, allegedly shot him in the back.
In the back?
Yeah.
While he was leaving?
That's the allegation. Hit once. The driver, incredibly, managed to drive himself home to Middleton and then went to the hospital. Serious wounds, but thankfully not fatal.
Unbelievable. Just doing his job. And he'd recently moved here from Guinea-Bissau.
Yeah, imagine that. Trying to make a life here, and that happens. Authorities seem clear he wasn't doing anything suspicious.
So Riley's been arrested?
Yes. Facing first-degree assault, criminal possession of a weapon, firearm possession, bail set at $500,000.
There's a pretty clear legal point here, isn't there, about shooting someone who's leaving?
Absolutely. Self-defense generally requires an immediate threat. If someone is retreating, walking away, especially shot in the back, it's extremely hard to claim self-defense justified deadly force. It suggests the threat, if there ever was one, was over.
Yeah. My quick practice pointer, don't shoot people walking away from your house.
Sound advice. Okay, next up, something completely different and maybe a sign of the future. An AI-generated victim impact statement.
Whoa, okay.
Where'd this happen?
In Arizona, the family of a man named Christopher Pelkey, killed in a road rage incident back in 2021. They used AI to create a video of him speaking at his killer's sentencing.
So, the victim addressed the court via AI. That's wild. What did the AI Pelkey say?
The focus was reportedly on forgiveness. Quotes like, "In another life we probably could have been friends, and I believe in forgiveness and God will forgive." Really powerful stuff, supposedly.
How did it look? And how did the judge react?
Apparently, the AI showed him dressed casually, baseball cap, hoodie, maybe some slight glitches, like lip syncing wasn't perfect, but the emotional impact was huge. The judge was reportedly very moved, gave a longer sentence than the prosecution even asked for.
Wow, so this might be the first time this has happened. AI victim impact.
Seems like it could be. Definitely raises a ton of questions about technology in the courtroom, victims' rights, testimony. It's fascinating. Yeah, definitely something we'll see more of, I bet. Okay, shifting again. The Luigi Manion Legal Defense Fund. It hit $1 million.
Over $1 million, yeah. Reached it right on his 27th birthday, May 6th. Seems like a lot of people donated $27 specifically for his age.
Remind us again, Manion is accused of?
He's accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson, back in December, and there's reportedly video of the murder itself.
Right. So despite that, and the seriousness of the charge, he's got this huge groundswell of financial support.
Apparently so. There are reports of, legions of fangirls, people protesting outside court. A lot of anti-healthcare industry sentiment seems tied up in it. He's pleaded not guilty to murder, stalking, and firearm charges.
And his spokesperson called him a Kalika.
A contemporary folk hero, yeah. It really shows how public perception can sometimes detach from the legal facts presented in court. It's a strange phenomenon.
It really is. Okay, let's jump to our history segment. What happened on this day in legal history, May 7th?
All right, May 7th. Let's see. Back in 1868, the Senate was deep in deliberations over President Andrew Johnson's impeachment articles. Very high-stakes constitutional moment.
Okay, what else?
1945, big one. Nazi Germany's unconditional surrender. End of WWII in Europe, which obviously led to massive legal shifts like the Nuremberg trials.
Right, any more recent.
Yeah, 1975, some Hells Angels members were arrested for manslaughter. 1982, a federal jury ruled the NFL broke antitrust laws by blocking the Oakland Raiders' move to L.A., big for sports law.
Ah, the Raiders move. I remember that saga.
And finally, 1992, the 27th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified. That's the one about congressional pay raises not taking effect until after the next election. Took over 200 years.
Wow, 200 years. That's patience. Okay, good mix. And now, our favorite way to end, the dumb criminal of the day.
Always a highlight. This one's from Springfield Township, Ohio. Police pull over Victoria Vidal, suspended license, pretty standard stuff.
But there's always a but.
But as the officer is dealing with the license and an outstanding warrant she had, they notice something odd in the driver's seat.
Uh-oh. Not another passenger.
Sort of. Her pet raccoon, Cheery.
A raccoon. Okay.
And Chewy, the raccoon, was allegedly holding a meth pipe.
No. You're kidding. Chewy the raccoon holding a meth pipe in the driver's seat.
That is the report. Naturally, this prompted a search.
I would imagine so. What did they find?
Cocaine and more meth pipes. The police department even posted about Chewy on social media.
Oh, my goodness. So what happened to Vidal? And crucially, what about Chewy?
Vidal got hit with felony drug possession, paraphernalia charges, plus the driving stuff and the warrant. Chewy, thankfully, was unharmed. And, get this, Vidal actually had the proper permits to own a raccoon in Ohio.
So Chewy was legal, just maybe you shouldn't have been handling the evidence.
Exactly. Chewy was released to appropriate care. But yeah, Vidal, probably not her best day, letting your raccoon hold your meth pipe during a traffic stop. Bold strategy.
He definitely earns the title Dumb Criminal of the Day, hands down.
Yeah.
Or paws down, maybe.
Yeah. Huh. Paws down.
Well, that wraps up another deep dive. We covered a lot from serious legal maneuvering in the Kohberger case
to that shocking Uber driver incident, the weirdness of the AI statement, the raccoon.
It really shows the spectrum, doesn't it? The complexity of the law and just human behavior.
It certainly does. These stories, they tell us a lot about our society, our justice system, where things might be heading.
So here's something to think about as you go. That AI victim statement, it feels like a tipping point maybe.
Yeah.
As technology like that gets better, more integrated, how does it change what we think of as testimony, as justice, as even empathy in the courtroom?
Yeah, what does it mean when a victim can speak after they're gone through AI? It's a profound question.
Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.